the earthquake, who's still rebuilding, and explains how it could easily happen again.
The building started shaking.
Things were falling off the walls and shelves. It was a very scary few minutes there for everybody.
It took less than a minute, but most Virginians will remember exactly where they were from 1:51 to 1:52 p.m. on August 23rd, 2011.
What was that?
I was singing with my other friends, and I was looking toward the school, and I saw it shaking, and I didn't know what it was until someone screamed out, "Earthquake!"
I thought it was like a battle tank, but nothing came out.
And there was a truck in front of me with two guys in it, and it actually ran us off the road.
The historic quake that rattled the East Coast was centered near the tiny town of Mineral, Virginia, and it shook the Commonwealth harder than had ever been felt by anyone alive. In fact, it was one of the strongest earthquakes to ever occur east of the Rockies.
There's only been one other earthquake in Virginia that, within historical times, that was that large, the 1897 earthquake. And so earthquakes like this are very, very infrequent on a human time scale.
So just what exactly did take place that afternoon?
An earthquake occurs when the parts of the earth on either side of a fault move relative to each other. So there's some stress accumulating on the fault at a very slow rate in places like the central eastern U.S. But at some point that stress exceeds what friction can resist. The rocks begin to slip relative to each other, and then that rupture expands out to cover some area.
And we weren't alone here in Virginia. The rumbling was felt across a huge geographic area stretching from Atlanta all the way north to Quebec.
We've known in general that shaking from earthquakes in the central and eastern U.S. extends further out than it does from earthquakes in the western U.S. But even compared to sort of general expectations, that one was much more widely felt.
The quake damaged thousands of homes and destroyed 2 schools in Louisa County. Since the initial 5.8 earthquake, there have been over 100 aftershocks, all of which have been significantly weaker than the original event.
One in Virginia there.
One in Virginia within the past week, so that's down around a magnitude 2. Might not have been felt by anybody. Somebody might have felt it and thought it was a truck and not said anything.
When we have an aftershock, I think we're gonna have another one.
We're used to the hurricanes, tornadoes, and snowstorms that hit Virginia with some regularity, but earthquakes, one thing that most folks never really had to worry about. Decade after decade of inactivity no doubt gave the residents and businesses a sense of security. So much, in fact, that they put one of those right on the fault line. The North Anna Power Station, through its 2 nuclear reactors, provides enough energy to power 450,000 homes. The epicenter of the 2011 quake was just 11 miles from the plant and was an immediate cause for concern in the community. Especially since the nuclear disaster in Fukushima, Japan had taken place just 6 months beforehand. According to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, this was the first time an earthquake had caused a nuclear power plant to be shut down in the United States. Information on the nuclear plant's website says specifically that safety systems functions were maintained and reviews of the plant equipment, systems, and structures did not reveal significant damage.
The plant did withstand the shaking that it was subjected to, but the reports that I saw at the time said that the acceleration exceeded what the design was at the time the plant was originally licensed.
Nearly 2.5 years since the quake, the aftershocks have become few and far between, allowing these kids to focus less on fear and more on what they love about being in school.
I like more recess and lunch, because recess we play and at lunch we eat.
But the chances of experiencing a repeat of August 23rd, 2011 are still very real.
There's no way to say that another earthquake of a similar size is less likely now on an adjacent fault or nearby on the same fault. Null hypothesis would be that this earthquake has not changed the probability of another earthquake of similar size in the near future.
Now that's what's so strange, is that earthquake doesn't change the chances, the probability of a similar earthquake. I mean, because that's what everyone wants to know is, how can we predict it? And